Call the meeting to order. Good morning. We have a quorum. All three commissioners are present, and we'll start with Commissioner Stamper and the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the minutes of January 11th, 2016.
I second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections, changes?
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Public comment? There is no public comment signed up. Is there any public comment? Then we will go on to the notice agenda.
Chairman Schultz, I make a motion to approve one notice agenda, resolutions number 16-023.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Tim.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Ellensey, Public Works Director, speaking to your notice agenda item, which is a call for bids for the 2016 rock proposal. Bids are due to the Clerk of the Board on or before 11 a.m., February 9th, 2016, and this is resolution number 16-203. This resolution would give notice that a call for bids has been issued for the 2016 rock proposal. The contract provides for the production, delivery, and stockpiling of crush screenings for Lewis County's 3R programs. This program is listed on Lewis County's 6-year transportation improvement program, and the material purchase will allow Lewis County crews to complete approximately 74 miles of chip seal to various county roads. Thank you.
Any further questions?
No.
Call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Notice agenda is approved.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda, items 2 through 13, resolution number 16-024 through 037. And there is space in between .34 and .37 because we just added this item to the agenda, appointing a new person to our Planning Commission.
So it's 16-024 to 16-034 plus 16-037.
Exactly.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded.
Good morning, Commissioner. Suzette Smith, Auditor's Office, Financial Services Division, here to present to you agenda items number 2 and 3. Agenda item number 2 is resolution number 16-024. This is the weekly approval of warrants against the various county departments, and this week it includes 2 weeks due to the holiday. We had 340 regular warrants, number 740176 through 740266, 740277 through 740348, 740502 through 740579, 740937 through 741035 for a total dollar amount $948,423.98. In addition, we had a mid-month draw. We had 238 draw warrants, including the one estimation of taxes. Those were warrants 740580 through 740816. Total dollar amount $271,573. Any questions on that one? Okay, lots of numbers. The next one is resolution number 16-025, and this is for the cancellation of 2 warrants. Warrant number 739267 was also paid by the contractor, resulting in a duplicate payment, and the warrant was returned to the county. Warrant number 740039 was lost by the vendor, and we have received a notarized affidavit, and as soon as the resolution is completed, we will reissue another warrant to that vendor. Any questions on that one? Thank you.
Good morning, Laura Ryder from the Treasurer's Office here for agenda item number 4, which is resolution 16-026, the cancellation of uncollectible taxes on personal property and mineral rights. They total $3,861.10. Any questions?
This is a normal process that every year,
Every year, yeah, we do our due diligence and try to get those collected, and we don't. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Don Harris, Chief Deputy, Lewis County Coroner's Office. Agenda item 5, Resolution 16-027, approval of the annual contract with the forensic pathologist for our autopsy services. This would cover the contract fee of $76,000 payable per year in monthly increments of $6,333.33. This would cover 70 autopsies. If we were to go over that, each autopsy after that would be at the total of $1,085.71 per case. We do get reimbursed 40% of the cost for all adult autopsies and 100% reimbursement for any child or infant autopsies. This is not automatically renewable, but must come before the board every year.
who renews it, or who reimburses us?
It goes through the WACME board, and it comes out of fees that they get from the state.
Which board?
WACME, the Washington Association of Coroner and Medical Examiners. Yes. We're not sure if they did that on purpose or accident. Any questions?
Good morning, Commissioners. Wes Rethwell, Lewis County Sheriff's Office. In front of you, agenda item number 6, Resolution 16-028, is a new interlocal agreement that the Sheriff's Office is entering into with the Mason County Sheriff's Office for jail bed space. We're figuring anywhere from 20 to 25 to 30 beds per month for the next year. We're anticipating and keeping our fingers crossed, hopeful revenue for that would be right around $400,000.
And that's not in the current budget for revenue?
That is correct, sir. That is not in the current budget for revenue. This all came up at the tail end of last year, first couple weeks of this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Lee Napier, Director of Community Development, speaking on agenda item number 7, Resolution 16029. Before the Board of County Commissioners is a resolution for you to consider. Your action today would be to approve and accept the 2016 Lewis County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. So this is a project that we worked on with the City of Centralia. We co-led this for the community and have assembled a document that is now available for all of the participants to adopt. And the benefit for them in adopting this is that they are then eligible for hazard mitigation dollars. So it's a service that the commissioners have provided to the communities, courtesy of and supported by our emergency management staff and budget.
How many county taxing districts have joined with us in this effort?
I'm not sure of the exact total at this point. We were 50-something the first time around, but all of the cities, all of the fire districts, and all of the school districts have participated in the development of the plan. What's now before them is to pass by resolution similar to what you're doing the plan, and then it will be approved and they will be eligible. At this point, you will be number 2 in adopting this plan because Onalaska Fire District approved it last Thursday.
And how much do we charge these other taxing districts to join in this plan with us?
There is at no charge to us or to them.
How many pages in this plan?
I don't know the total. It's in the 500 probably range. It's a lot.
And it's available online, correct?
It's available online right now at the City of Centralia's website, and it will remain online at the City of Centralia until the resolutions are inserted. And then once the resolutions approving it from the various document or jurisdictions are inserted into the document, it will then return to the county's emergency management page. And that's for the convenience of the author, who is Emil Pearson.
And rather this be considered like many of our other studies that are 500 pages and sit on a shelf somewhere, this actually is divided up into sections. So if you have a event in East County or West County, you can open this book to those particular cities or jurisdictions and say, these are the people, these are the points of contacts, this is the phone numbers, this is the equipment they have, and these are the materials on hand. So if you need to go and look for help for an event, a disaster event in any area, you can break this out. So it may be 500 pages, but if you want to go back and look for the District 11 fire district and say who's out there and what equipment they can have, and you need it at hand quickly, you open to that section and there's a list. And they're all in the same format. So it's very, very easy to look countywide for any particular region to get the resources you need to respond. And all the jurisdictions have gone into this together.
And we will be using it as the basis for our capital facilities plan update and hope that it will also be of benefit to the other jurisdictions as they go through similar processes. Any other questions? Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Archie Smith with Lewis County Human Resources. I'm here to discuss item number 8, resolution number 16-030. It's a collective bargaining agreement between Lewis County Sheriff's Office and Lewis County Deputies Guild being presented for approval. The contract will be a 3-year agreement dating from January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2018. There's a 2.5% wage adjustment for each year. The employees' health and welfare and their VEBA will remain status quo. Other issues that were addressed during the negotiations were training reimbursements for new employees, clarification of take-home vehicles, creation of a lateral transfer for the operations group, and clarification of scope of recognition and use of reserve deputies to perform minimal work, and then basic housekeeping.
Delane Coleman, Human Resources, speaking to consent agenda item number 9, resolution number 16-031. This resolution is to authorize initial placement of casual E911 communications manager who will be outside the extra help grid. So this is due to the management vacancy in E911. Human Resources is requesting to hire a casual E911 communications manager. The Lewis County salary grid maximum pay for a casual employee would not be competitive to a skilled manager. Any questions?
This is a 6-month contract or not to exceed?
Not to exceed 6-month contract.
And this is actually to cover the interim while we put out a search for that.
That's correct. Okay.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Tim Elsey, Public Works Director, speaking to item number 10 on your consent agenda. This is resolution number 16-032, the bid award for the Lewis County Safety Project Phase 1. And this contract provides for the improvement of approximately 95 miles of roadway in Lewis County by placing flexible guideposts as directed by the engineer and traffic control on various roads and other work in accordance with contract plans, provisions, and specifications. Call for bids was made on December 12, 2015. The project was advertised for 3 weeks in the East County Journal and the Daily Journals of Commerce, Seattle, and Portland. The project was also listed on Lewis County's website. We received 9 responsive bids for this project, which is very, very good. And the lowest responsive bid was provided by Construction Ahead Incorporated, doing business as Pavement Surface Control out of Kennewick, Washington. And it's for the amount of $71,200, which is below the engineer's estimate of $87,360. And we would recommend approving the award of this contract to Construction Ahead Incorporated. Thank you.
Good morning, Danette York, Director of Public Health and Social Services, and I'm speaking to items 11 and 12. Resolution number 16-033 is approving contracts with Reliable Enterprises, the Housing Resource Center, and the Human Response Network to provide assistance to individuals who are at risk or already experiencing homelessness. So this is our subcontracts that we send out. We receive a contract from the state, goes through our department, and then we subcontract the funds out to the providers in the county. It's for a total of $398,286, with $10,700 going to Reliable Enterprises, $356,216 going to the Housing Resource Center, and $31,370 to the Human Response Network. Any questions?
Not on this, but can you tell us a little bit about what's coming up this week, Homeless Connect?
Yes. Thursday at the Southwest Washington Fairgrounds begins at 10, and usually it's scheduled to end at 3, but it goes as long as it needs to. We have an annual Homeless Connect event where there will be several vendors there to greet the homeless population. We invite everyone that we know of and try to get the word out. This is the one day a year that nationally people across the nation hold these events and do a homeless count to try to determine how many homeless individuals we have in each community. Some of the services that we'll provide for individuals that come are free haircuts. They can take showers, receive information about the various resources throughout the county that is available to them, and there's also a clothing bank type store where they can get warm clothing. Some include even sleeping bags and lots of socks and hygiene products and things like that.
A lot of volunteers involved in this.
Lots of volunteers, lots of vendors that are coming out to try to help our homeless population. And item number 12 is resolution number 16-034. This is approving the chemical dependency, mental health, therapeutic courts, sales and use tax contracts with providers within our county. Those providers include the Housing Resource Center, Centralia College, Reliable Enterprises, and Cascade Mental Health. So these contracts are for 2 years. It's $215,000 per year, so a total of $430,000. And the split is $60,000 to the Housing Resource Center, $30,000 to Centralia College, $65,000 to Reliable Enterprises, and $60,000 to Cascade Mental Health. And all of these providers will be doing programs that will help the population that we're allowed to serve through the sales tax, which includes the mentally ill and chemically dependent populations.
The 60,000 going to Cascade is actually to provide counselors at schools?
It provides an early intervention program at schools in the amount of $15,000 per school. So there's 4 schools involved. That includes PL, White Pass, Napavine, and Mossy Rock at this time. We provide the $15,000, and then the school provides a match, and they do provide, the Cascade Mental Health Center provides counselors in each of the schools that participate in the program. Thank you.
And you've added agenda item number 13.
13, resolution number 16-037, and that's the additional member on the Planning Commission, or on the Planning Commission.
037.
037.
Great, thank you. Lee Napier, Director of Community Development, speaking on this agenda item, which is a resolution to appoint to the Lewis County Planning Commission a new member. Robert Winnell has expressed interest in serving in this capacity. He has submitted a letter of interest. We have a vacancy, one of 2 vacancies on the Planning Commission. And so he will be representing District 2. And if appointed, his term will be a 4-year term, and he will be joining us tomorrow night at the Planning Commission. Any questions?
We look very closely as to where people come from when we appoint them. And this particular individual is so close to all 3 districts, but we narrowed it in, and it's District 3 that he represents.
Oh, it is District 3?
3, yes.
Okay, we'll correct the resolution
Yes.
then.
Yes.
I would have pointed out that correction also, the bottom.
You could still keep recruiting.
We will do that. We will continue doing that.
Okay. We'll correct the resolution then. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions on the consent agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Hearings. The first hearing will be the 2015 budget amendment. We will have the hearing presentation from the staff. Then we'll have a question and answer period. We will then close the question and answer period and open it up to public comment. If you would like to sign up now or sign up when we finish this, that's fine. After the public comment, everyone will have 3 minutes, and then we will close the hearing and consider the resolution. So the first one today is the budget amendment. Mr. Walton.
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Walton, Budget Administrator. Copies of the detailed budget amendment are available at the front of the room. There's also a sign-up sheet for public comment. Amendments to the county budget after the end of the year are necessary when there are unanticipated or emergency expenditures not known prior to year's end. If these expenditures will cause a fund or department to exceed current budget appropriation, then an amendment is required in such cases. This hearing is for the 6th 2015 budget amendment as represented in Resolution Number 16-035 and required by RCW 36.40.140. Notice of this public hearing was published in the East County Journal on January the 13th and the 20th, 2016. Publishing of the notice was also required by RCW. The notice that was published in the East County Journal reflected an increase in expenditures of $5,000 and an increase in revenue in the amount of $5,000. Subsequent to the notice being published in the paper, changes to the noticed amounts occurred, resulting in additional expenditures in the amount of $255,079 and additional revenue in the amount of $366,240, with an overall increase to reserves in the amount of $111,161. Too many numbers. With the new changes incorporated, this total budget amendment reflects an increase in expenditures of $260,079, an increase in revenue in the amount of $371,240, and an increase in fund balance in the amount of $111,161. The impact to current expense in this budget amendment is $200 in expenditures with a corresponding use of reserves of $200. The amendment is broken down as follows. The impact to current expense, as I mentioned, of $200 associated with the Washington State Association of Counties dues for 2015. The remainder of the impact is associated with other funds with no impact to current expense. The first one, Social Services, Fund 104, an increase of $32,740 in expenditures with offsetting revenue associated with an increase to housing contracts and grants. Flood Authority Fund 122, an increase of $7,200 for an unexpected state auditor's office audit and other professional services. These expenditures have an equal amount of offsetting revenue, again $7,200. Solid Waste Disposal District Fund 415, an increase in expenditures of $165,439, an increase in revenue in the amount of $326,800, resulting in an increase in reserves in the amount of $161,361. The 2015 budget for this fund assumed a total tonnage of 57,000 tons. The year ended with 60,020 tons. As a result, both revenue and expenditures will be increased. Lastly, Facilities Maintenance Fund 507, increases in utilities and supplies in the amount of $50,000 with a corresponding use of reserves in the amount of $50,000. Recommendation is to approve this resolution. Are there any questions?
Does the board have any questions? Does the audience have any questions on the adjustment, the budget adjustment? Then I will close the question and answer period and open it for public testimony. There was no one signed up for public testimony. Does anybody wish to make a comment? I will close the hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Commissioner, I would like to have my comments incorporated into the record.
We will do that.
I make a motion approving the 2015 Budget Amendment Resolution number 16-035.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Are there any further comments? Call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That amendment is passed. The next hearing will be a franchise extension for Puget Sound Energy, resolution number 16-036.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Elsey, Public Works Director. This is a hearing to consider proposed franchise extension to Puget Sound Energy for construction, operation, and maintenance of water lines for the Jackson Prairie Gas Storage Project. As you're aware, the revised Code of Washington allows for utilities to be within county road rights-of-ways with a franchise or other agreement. PSE has applied for a new franchise to replace their existing franchise, which was granted in 1965. I've been to you before to ask for an extension of their franchise, and this is one more extension until March 31st of this year. And at that point, we expect to have the language issues straightened out so that we can have a 5-year extension of their franchise agreement.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Then I will close the question and answer period. Tim, would you like your comments being entered into the record?
Yes, please.
Any statements from the board? Any public comment? No one signed up. Does anyone have a comment? Then I will close the hearing on the proposed franchise extension and entertain a resolution.
I move that we approve resolution number 16-036, franchise extension to Puget Sound Energy for construction, operation, and maintenance of water lines for the Jackson Prairie Gas Storage Project.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any further comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is passed.
Do you mind if we get set up for the next hearing?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
While we're setting up the representatives from Benaroya, I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to lay out on a table, and it would be easier to have a table and a mic.
I think the table and mic here will be fine. Thank you.
Our next hearing will be a continuation of the hearing for the development agreement between Benaroya Capital Company LLC and Lewis County, and we will do it the same way. We will start out with a staff report. We will have a question and answer period. We will close that question and answer period, and we'll have a statements. If you would like to sign up for that, please do. It'll be for 3 minutes each. Even if you don't sign up, I will still ask anybody if they wish to speak, and then we will consider approving the resolution. So staff right now is putting up the maps.
Whoops.
Tim, if you put it there, we won't be able to see.
There's a camera there.
That'll work. Look out, Lee. quite an operation. Need the maintenance? Need maintenance in here to?
Just need a hammer.
That doesn't always work.
No.
That looks good there, Tim. That looks good there. Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Lee Napier, Director of Community Development. I'll just remind the board that we first met on this matter 2 weeks prior to this, and at that time we opened the hearing and we then recessed to this day. I provided some opening comments, and we also asked that we reserve time for today for Tim Elsey to speak. I also believe that there were some members of the public who spoke, and I think they are here today as well. And then we have members of Benaroya. So if no further questions, I'd like to turn it over to Tim Elsey.
Why don't you give us a quick review of what you said last week?
Last week, 2 weeks ago, I indicated that we were here to consider a developer's agreement, but we were in the process of finalizing a few details. Questions had been asked at the last minute, and so we wanted adequate time to make certain that we were all on the same page. And so we have now addressed those items, and I think Tim will probably be covering that as part of his staff report related to Mickelson Parkway.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Elsey, Public Works Director, and this is a hearing to consider approving a proposed development agreement between Benaroya Capital Company, LLC, and Lewis County. And just to give you a little bit of the background, Benaroya owns property within the boundaries of the Winlock urban growth area. And as with other cities, there's an interlocal agreement that the county has with Winlock addressing the joint management of development within the city's urban growth area. This interlocal agreement designates that the county has oversight of transportation improvements, utility placement within the rights-of-way, and stormwater. Benaroya would like to construct an industrial warehouse development with office spaces, and this is referred to as high-cube warehouses on the property. And the project, as presented, provides up to 5,215,280 square feet of building area. The county and Benaroya both agree that Benaroya's proposed development of the property will provide for economic and community benefits to the county and its residents. In March 2014, the city approved a binding site plan with conditions, and the binding site plan that was presented to the city is over to the left of the screen, and I can go through that with you. But basically, it just shows the area with the accesses off of North Military Road. The city has conducted a review of Benaroya's proposed development pursuant to the State Environmental Policy Act and has issued a mitigated determination of non-significance, or an MDNS, for the project. The binding site plan approved by the city was approved with conditions of approval, which included transportation improvements for the development of the property, and the binding site plan is valid for 10 years. Benaroya and the county agreed that it would be in the best interest for both entities to utilize the provisions of RCW 36.70B, which provides for local governments to enter into development agreements with property owners to govern applicable development of real property during the term of the agreement, entering into an agreement governing the development so that they will have predictability in the county requirements for their development, and the county will have predictability in that development. The primary access to this project is intended to be by means of a new roadway commonly referred to as Mickelson Parkway, which will be constructed as a part of this project off of SR 505 opposite of Knowles Road. This right-of-way has been conditionally dedicated by the Mickelson family, and with the conditions running out in March of 2018, the right-of-way itself will run out in March of 2018 if some conditions aren't met. In addition to accessing the property from Mickelson Parkway, Benaroya desires to access their property by means of multiple vehicular access points on a North Military Road. We understand that Winlock High School and Middle School are both located on North Military Road between SR 505 and the desired access locations to the project. Both the City of Winlock and the county want to minimize the impacts of additional truck traffic on North Military Road in front of the high school and the middle school. A traffic impact analysis prepared and presented at the direction of Benaroya forecasts that the project will generate approximately 8,800 new daily trips, with up to 29% of those, or approximately 2,600 of those, being forecast to be heavy vehicle trips. During the PM peak commute hour, a total of 626 trips were forecast, with 182 of those being heavy truck traffic. Lewis County Code requires a traffic impact analysis for projects that are proposed to generate greater than 50 PM peak hour trips. So with that as background, the development agreement provides for the following. Up to 6 accesses will be allowed onto North Military Road, 4 from the east and 2 from the west. All of the accesses, except for one, will be designed to limit the use of the driveways to passenger and 2-axle vehicles. These driveways are labeled A, C, and D on the exhibit over to the left, and that's Exhibit C1 of the development agreement as well. One access from the west will be designated to allow for truck traffic to flow across North Military Road or to turn right to go north on North Military Road, but will be designed and constructed to discourage or obstruct heavy truck traffic from traveling south along North Military Road in front of the Winlock Senior High School and the middle school. This access is labeled as B on Exhibit C1 in the development agreement. Improvements to North Military Road will be required and broken out into 2 distinct segments that the development agreement identifies as the northern segment and the southern segment, and is designated as Segment 1 on Exhibit C1, which is to the right of the screen, and Segment 2, or Exhibit C2, which is behind that, and I don't know which one is in front. Actually, C2 is in front. The northern segment extends along North Military Road from a point adjacent to the property's north property line to a point adjacent to the property's southern property line. This segment will be improved to provide 2 4-foot wide paved shoulders and 2 12-foot travel lanes. In addition, curb, gutter, and sidewalk will be constructed along the west side of Segment 1. No dedication of property will be required for the road improvements. In other words, there will be a sidewalk on the high school and middle school side of North Military Road from the north property line to the south property line. The improvements agreed upon on the southern segment of roadway, Segment 2, will extend from a point adjacent to the property's southern property line to SR 505. This segment will be improved to provide for 2 4-foot paved shoulders in addition to 2 12-foot travel lanes. Curb, gutter, and sidewalk improvements are not being required on this segment of roadway. Additionally, this agreement and the city conditions of approval for the binding site plan, as well as SEPA approval, provide for the construction of Mickelson Parkway prior to occupancy of any building. The design of Mickelson Parkway will be in accordance with the design presented by Cook Engineering as a part of Mickelson Parkway right-of-way establishment, or such alternate design presented by the developer as supported by an appropriate traffic impact analysis. I offered this alternative design option in this instance because the design prepared by Cook Engineering calls for a 5-lane roadway for approximately 1,300 feet through the Mickelson property and then narrows to a 3-lane roadway. In my opinion, a lesser roadway section may be adequate depending on the development, and though no alternative has been presented, I thought it would be in the developer's best interest to leave this door open for a more appropriate design so that they would not have to build the 5-lane roadway going through the Mickelson property if it's not proper for the development that ensues. Benaroya agrees to initiate and coordinate the timely extension of the current right-of-way agreement between Lewis County and the owners of the right-of-way for Mickelson Parkway as needed. And as I mentioned before, March 2018 is when that agreement currently expires. The county understands that Benaroya may request that the county process a latecomers agreement for the improvements on North Military Road and the construction of Mickelson Parkway. In other words, that we would not oppose the developer being paid back from some latecomers agreement if there's further development after they've put the improvements in place or invested in the infrastructure improvements. Benaroya and the county also understand that some improvements will be required on the state system along SR 505, which may include any or all of the following, and that is a truck climbing lane on SR 505, a traffic signal or roundabout and channelization at the SR 505 interchange, a traffic signal or roundabout and possible channelization at SR 505 and Knowles Road or Mickelson Parkway, and a traffic signal or roundabout and possible channelization at the intersection of SR 505 and South Military Road. The county agrees not to object to a latecomers reimbursement agreement should the developer request one from Washington Department of Transportation for the improvement to the state system. Vesting of rights. The agreement provides that the provisions of Lewis County Code in effect on the date of this agreement shall provide to the project except as otherwise provided in the agreement or by state or federally mandated laws preempting the county's authority to vest regulations. In other words, what we're saying is that the county's regulation as of this date will govern the development of this project rather than as the county's regulations are amended in the future. The agreement further provides that any amendments or additions made during the term of the agreement to transportation concurrency shall not apply to or affect the conditions of the project. Again, this provides for consistency and development for the developer. And with that, I will conclude my statement.
Does the board have any questions?
I think you've covered it very well.
Couple things though, or one thing anyway. So in other words, when this is approved, then they're basically grandfathered in for if there's new policy or there's new requirements other than environmental or other things that we can't control, right?
That's correct, unless the project changes dramatically.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does Benaroya have any questions?
We have no questions. Chairman Schulte, we would urge you to approve the agreement when it comes time for you to consider it. We've spent a lot of time and effort working with your staff to come up with an agreement that's satisfactory both to the staff and to Benaroya, and we think that this is a good thing for Lewis County because it provides another great site for economic development to occur in the county. It brings the property as close as it can at this particular point in time to being able to move forward with some predictability and certainty as to what the conditions are for its development so that it would be hopefully attractive to a potential user or business that would come to Lewis County.
Yes, we agree.
Are there any other questions? Colonel Averill, I saw you up there. Are there any other questions? Then I will close the question and answer period and ask if there are your statements or your report to be included in the permanent record.
Yes, please.
And with that, are there any other statements or comments from the board? Any other statements or comments from Benaroya?
No. Would reserve the right to respond to any comments the public might have, though.
Ron Averill, Colonel Ron Averill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Ron Averill, 2523 Graff Road in Centralia. As commissioners know and Don Marcy knows, I was commissioner when this project was first started, and when Mr. Cook was our public works director, and then subsequently the contractor on the road. And I want to thank you for abiding by the concerns that we have at the middle school and the high school. That's a fairly large student population, and the truck traffic going through was our huge concern in those times, and the reason why we asked the Mickelson family if we could construct another access road onto that property. Well, 2 weeks ago when we were here, I was a little bit concerned because I was shown a reconstruction of the road, and I understand the reason why, but I know that when Mr. Cook designed that road, we had a lot of concerns about the water table in that area, and we not only designed the road, but we also designed that on that road would be the sewer and water lines that would someday come in from Winlock. So I just, since this is now left up in the air, I would just ask that we make sure that we abide by the ecological concerns on the property.
Any other comments or statements? Any other testimony? Tim, you have any comments?
No.
Anything else? Well, with that, I will close the hearing, and I will entertain a motion to approve this agreement between Lewis County and Benaroya.
I move to approve resolution number 16-022, approving the proposed development between Benaroya Capital Company, LLC, and Lewis County.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there any further discussion? Then I'll call for
I'd like to make a comment that there's other things to do with this that we're fully supporting of. If we know the city of Winlock has to bring the sewer water up, and whatever we can do to help them legislatively, if they need to go there and ask for dollars to help with that, we'd be right there to testify. And we know DOT is a big partner in this too. And once again, if there's any legislative solutions there and budget issues, that we would go to Olympia to support this project.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Edna, as long as you're commenting on that, we've also given a grant to the city of Winlock to develop and engineer the water and sewer to run out to that project. So we've already invested money into this.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Matter of fact, it is currently sitting there. Is that correct?
They've used
a portion of it. Okay.
With no further comment, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution 16-022 is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Seeing no further business on our agenda, I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.